Give me another round of applause. All right, now, Brother Otim. Now, like I said, Steely Dan has a song out. I can't think of the name of that album. A song said, I'm not going to do it without my fez on. Last but never not least is Brother C. Freeman, my former teacher and Starbucks companion. Starbucks and donuts. So now you know how I get the doggone hood over the hot rod or the tool shed. But anyway, if you see some of the tapes from 1993 with Brother C. Freeman for the people that know him and all, you'll see that I was one of the people sitting in the audience. He's a person that taught me meditation and other also spiritual techniques and wisdom. And me, my brother Ali, which is also in the back in the black, and my brother Mike. So you had all of the Hemmitt boys up in there, and a whole crew. C. Freeman is not necessarily known locally. He's traveled the country also speaking, and I knew that this year that it would be a criminal to have a Hemmitt summit and not have C. Freeman a former teacher. That would be criminal, to roll something through like that and all. So so this is a very special time to bring forth the brother that is multiple disciplines and all, because we don't like to categorize ourselves as just this and just that. You know what I'm saying? Just and that. So one sister was like, well, hell, Bobby don't know nothing about no doggone metaphysics. Metaphysics is this. I'm like, well, I didn't think it was just metaphysics. I say I'm in the business of shit talk also. Jokes, among any other thing and all, occultism and a multiple thing. You know what I'm saying? Some diplomat, some everything. And so basically, if you were just one straight thing, you more than likely people grow tired of you. So yeah, I like that too. We're gonna give it all up again for the sister energy that's been beating the drum the whole, because if she saved the day, because if she hadn't come, we would have been talked about all over the country. How you gonna call yourself having a metaphysical conference and you ain't got no drummers? You know what I'm saying? So she did save the day and all. But anyway, we bringing in the more, the Sufi, the elder in the aspect of not necessarily on a negative level, but as far as guidance, the what do they call it in Africa? The griot. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give me a black hand for brother C. Freeman. All the way from Ohio, right? Yeah, okay, we're gonna do that right now. Yeah.
Stick this in my pocket.
Put this in your pocket.
Yeah.
Just clip it on there right there. You can start getting down. And I was in Cleveland not too long ago, and everybody up there knew Marty, as they called him. Marty up there. So, which is Moorish territory in Cleveland, Ohio, and Ohio itself.
Yeah.
The riches of CMB. And I guess if you can, a lot of people don't even know who CMB is.
Right.
You might want to mention that to them and all.
Okay.
Depends on whether it's a territorial thing.
Okay.
So which one to put
up? So here, now I want to take a look, see it, so it won't fall apart. But it's the one that I got in color. Did he take the chalk, the marker with him?
Oh, I got it.
You got it? Okay. Good.
I don't know. Raise the roof up a little bit. Turn up the volume.
There's a verse from a song that I heard Sister C.C. Winan sing that impressed me a couple of years ago. And I think it's an appropriate verse for this entire cycle. So I kind of like to quote it whenever I get a chance to do a lecture. Everything must change. Nothing remains the same. The young become the old. Mysteries must unfold. And I think it's important to get a sense of things unraveling, of things hidden coming to the light, of finding truth, an enormous word that fits in everybody's church, everybody's religion, and everybody's politics. I heard some statements made earlier that kind of threw a bucket of water on an important piece of fire, so that it appears that two things are one. And what harm the one part of this thing has done is spoil the value of its causer. Religion is based on belief, and belief only. It is not based upon knowledge. It is not based upon wisdom. Religion is called truth, but it is not based upon truth. If you wonder why knowledge is not an integral part of any religious ritualism or organization that you've been through, heard about, or been affected by, for a woman to believe that she came out of a man must be founded in belief only, and not in fact, knowledge, truth, and certainly not in understanding. So we need to be able to make a division where division is meant to be made. Religion is one thing. The Bible, the Scripture, is another. And I use the word Scripture because that includes all of the Scriptures. When I say that about Christianity, I mean the same thing about Islam, about Hinduism. The Scripture of each religion is one thing. The belief is another. The wars that are fought in the name of God. Whatever that name of God happens to be prevalent of that particular people. That's how the rich and the greedy bring the poor and the ignorant against each other in any or every country. There's a code. It is called the Codex Inscriptus. The code written in is what that Latin term makes reference to. On the very cover of this book called the Bible, the code begins in its original language, Holios Biblos, Greek and Latin, which means the book of light, of fire, and of sun. The next term used that encompasses the whole book is the term testament. The Latin word testamenti is the base of the word testament. It is not a testimony, but a term. Testamenti. Testi, body. Menti, mind. Old body, old mind. New body, new mind. That is the beginning and the basis of the Codex Inscriptus of the Bible, or the Holio Biblos, the Holy Writ, as some authors have chosen to call it. The word also means complete, from alpha to omega, a complete term. Bobby kind of hemmed me in with the title of the lecture as that of the code of astrology in the Bible. You can't look at astrology without looking at human nature. You can't look at astrology without looking at divine nature. You can't look at astrology without looking at nature. Nature has given birth to the science of human life. Then what's the problem? Those responsible for teaching you the science of life have failed to bring it forth. Something is missing in human behaviorism. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, it was unheard of for a black child to shoot another black child. Unheard of. Not a coincidental that happened every now and then. It was unheard of. Something in nature, in our nature, is changing. Can we read the signs of our time? Are we supposed to be able to read the signs of our time? Are we supposed to understand our nature in order to master our nature, to control our nature, to direct our nature? If so, where are the textbooks, the blueprints, and the lecture tablets on that subject? What is missing in this educational system that leaves the black child who becomes the black man and woman deficient in their ability to perform beyond a certain age successfully? 3 missing keys found in Moorish science: identity, self-knowledge, and self-revelation. Those 3 keys are missing in the school system, in the church system, in the cultural system in America. In this book that gets lumped around with every time you criticize or hear criticism of Christianity, the Bible gets lobbed along with it. And it's not a Jewish book. the phenomena about this book, that is, it is as Afrocentric as you are. Let me put it that way. But again, it's the level of the scriptures that you read that will give you that information back instead of the belief system. I don't care how many times a brother or sister criticizes Jesus, he ain't going nowhere. He's here to stay. So you might as well get used to it and make a reconciliation. This is the only book that the majority of black folks have in their home, that they all or most have in common. There's no other book that you can think of that the majority of black folks anywhere in America have in their home. You can't kick it out. It's in their home. But you can explain it if you understand it. That's science. That's knowledge. That's love. That's wisdom. With all that getting, get the understanding. I want to put a upward spin on this part of the lecture. Brother let out so much stuff here in the last couple of hours. You could mentally see America falling apart faster and faster. When you start pulling the strings out of the doll and the strings out of the suit, you got nothing but rags and straw left. You can't live like that. That isn't how human beings grow and develop. That isn't how you continue on. You need to know what's right with you, not what's wrong. You need to know what's your plus, not your minus. Your strength, not your weakness. You need to know that you are God, manifested, sitting here right now, today. All the God that you're going to have, you got it right now. Then what's the problem? You don't know it. This book tells you that. Your preacher don't. Okay. John chapter 10, verse 31 to 36. Does not your scriptures say that ye are gods? Is the premise of this book. It is not Jesushood, it is Godhood. The premise of Christianity is Jesus. The premise of this book is G-O-D. Generator, that's your brain. Operator, that's your soul. Destroyer, that's your kundalini, the energy in your sacral vertebrae. Generator, operator, destroyer is what God means. It is not someone's name, it is someone's nature. Also, you'll find in Psalm 82, verse 5 to 8, a verification of that as taken from John 10 in the conversation. I'm going to skip over a little bit of this. I've made it my business to keep my lectures at somewhere within 2 hours. My contention, if you go past 2 hours, you're either babbling or your audience is asleep. Because like Bobby goes beyond that. You know, but my thing is to give you a system so that when you leave in front of me, you'll have something to work with that will change your consciousness that same day. The Codex Inscriptus is 2 parts. One is in the mother Zoodokias. And I give that concept because of a young woman who came up to me this evening and said she wanted to hear about tzawdoq. And tzawdoq is the Greco-Latin word for zodiac. But it is also the name of a great African queen or mother, the mother tzawdoq, which gets into an old and very ancient and undocumented mythology about this great goddess that I don't have any records to bring up or to underline, to point to go and tell you to read about the mother tzawdoq, except it's found in the zodiac. And understanding that concept is universe persona, personified, that the universe is feminine. This book also tells you that in the concept of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the mother of us all, says Paul. Certainly is not talking about that little city over there. I hope most of us know and understand that. This book is a code book. It is not a history book. It's not talking about a people, it's talking about nature, human nature and divine nature. But it's written in story form. Bobby, did you give me the marker or not? Where's Bobby, going out in the hall? No, he said he had it. See him out there? I think he's got it in his pocket. Let me mention, Bobby, give me the marker. Yeah. The concept Hebrew. If you look in the dictionary, you'll find it there. It is a Greek word. In other words, the word Hebrew is not a Hebrew word. Dr. Yosef ben Yochanan coined it as Haribu. But he didn't give the Codex Inscriptus on it because he's a Mason. And not only a Mason, but he's 360 degrees level and plump, which is a high Mason. He got his stuff in Africa. So it's a lot of things Dr. Yochanan took an oath not to tell you. He couldn't tell you. Can you see that from back there? Okay. I'm left-handed. I need to be standing on this side of the thing. Let me slide this over just a little bit. Okay.
You want it on this side?
No. I want to stand on this side. It's all right here. Yeah. This is the code meaning of this term, this word, this concept. Her web. Right. Now, how can you verify that? By reaching in your pocket where you've been carrying it around all day. I hope everybody's got $1 in there. I got one. Turn the dollar over and look along the outline design of that dollar. And you'll be amazed at what you find. My students don't have to do that. They've been through this already. And a few of you that have my tapes recall this is one of my prize revelations. One thing I wanted to mention earlier. Take the word slave and X it out of your psyche. Take the word money and blow it up in your brain as big as you can get it. Feel good about yourself, then feel that you are worthy to be rich. Because I'm going to tell you something that an earlier Moor told the Moors of 1920 and 23 that didn't get to be common knowledge about money and you. This, you see that? I didn't anybody go ooh and ah, so I figured only a few of you did that. Do you see it there? On the back of it, turn it over, sister. Look around the edges. You see a web design on the back of it. You see it? All right. Okay. The spider's web represents the zodiac. Now, to show you we're in collaboration with this body of Moorish science, I'm going to turn directly to the Bible to read this next verse or make this next statement. 1 Kings chapter 7, verse 13, if you want to write this down. I'm going to be doing a lot of biblical quotes, so don't come up to me after I leave the podium and say, what was that quote? Write it down now so I don't have to repeat it. Okay? 1 King chapter 7, verse 13. Yeah. There are 2 books of Kings in the Bible. And King Solomon sent and fetched Hiram out of Tyre. He was a widow's son of the tribe of Naphtali. Okay. The widow's son is a who? Anybody? Speak up loud so we can all hear. Thank you. Okay. The widow's son is a mason. Okay. You live in a Masonic government. The Masonic government, the Masonic lore, the Masonic knowledge comes from your ancestry. The ancient Moors of Europe. The ones that came out of Africa and conquered Europe. And gave them the knowledge and the culture that they have now. That's what your ancestors did in Europe. I didn't see any of J.A. Rogers' books over there. You know, if you're going to talk about real history and corrective history, you can't go around J.A. Rogers. Nature knows no color line is a must for anybody looking for self. You got to read J.A. Rogers. We're all born at a certain time of day, a certain day of the week, a certain month of the year. Every human being down here is born in a circle of 12. Doesn't matter about the ethnocentric descendancy. Every cat, mouse, and ant was born at a certain time. Of hour, of minute, of day, of week, of month, of year. We're all registered by the universe in this clock of destiny. From that body of information, we're able to find self in terms of talents, abilities, and powers. To understand your behaviorism based on 30 degrees that you share with everyone else born in that month, on that day, in that week, and of that hour. This is the criteria of the changing, the revolution of human nature. According to the predictive astrologers, it's due in the school system by the year 2010. If you're having trouble with your children, your husband and your wife, What is it that you need, should know, do not know about her or him? Do you know who you're sleeping with 6, 7 days out of the week? Human nature is not that varied in its behavior. If it were so, we wouldn't enjoy the same cluster of music, the same cluster of games, the same cluster of social mores. Doesn't matter about ethnicity. We live on one planet. We have the blueprint of ALLAH, arm, leg, arm, head. We don't live on the earth. We live between heaven and earth in your mind. That's where you live. That's where you think. That's where you dream. That's where you calculate. That's where you make your mistakes. That's where you examine your feelings. That's where you receive your visions. And that's where you think about yourself and what you think about yourself and others. It's no more a great mystery once someone tells you, you are God. Then you know your purpose. Educo educare. To draw out that which is within. Is to be about the business of becoming God. What I was supposed to do when I first got up here, at least I decided while I was sitting there filtering some of this stuff through my head here, was to ask, can anybody in here heal another human being of any ailment he or she might have? Raise your hand. Can you do that? Well, don't almost raise it up. You see?
I don't want this to be a trick question.
There's no trick question about truth.
Okay, all right.
Can anyone in here work a miracle? I see my brother's got his hand up out there, and he's verified that he's healed before. This is what you're supposed to be about. Why are human beings and human nature being bombarded with a rash of disease? So the healing power of human and divine nature will come out and express. That's why it's happening. And it's not going to stop until you start healing. It's no fancy statement. Physician, heal thyself. If you're reading that and the scripture's talking to you and you haven't been to med school, you got to figure out what kind of physician the scripture is talking to you about. The only thing you would have then would be what? Mind physician, metaphysician. Heal thyself. Born with that power and that ability. Born with it. You can't buy it, and the white boy can't take it. Quit talking about what he's done to you, what he's doing to you. If you want to say fuck him, say fuck him.
Fuck him.
But quit giving him all your power. Quit giving him your mind. Quit giving him all this strength. He done this and he done that. He ain't done much of shit but copied the stuff that your ancestors laid out for him. Benjamin Banneker is proof of that. Take back your power. Quit talking about I ain't got and start claiming what you want. Quit buying into poverty and bills. Claim it from the universe. That's how you got everything else you have. Use your mind. It is your power. These are the 12 powers. I don't know if you can see them from there. I wanted to put this up here because I want it on the video. I don't have any more of them. I got maybe 2 of them. I was selling them for a while in black and white. I'm still trying to get it published, but it's hard to get that in that size. This is an exaggeration here. Usually, most of them are 36 by 36 in size, you know, but you're not going to find another poster where a black man is at the center of knowledge. This is all self-knowledge. This is all about you, and everything up here is in here. Every bit of it is in here. But you can't preach this. You got to explain this. When I was a child, I thought as a child. I played as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. And what the good reverend is supposed to do at that point is to explain to you the meaning of the word man. Because it does not begin with the male, it begins with the female. She is the womb man. Womb man is the first man. If it's not so, then you can't become a man. Because she gave you your nature. But you need to understand Adam and Eve in order to get there. I see my brother smiling over because he had been through some of this, so he knows what I'm talking about. M-A-N, master, able, and noble, is the codex inscriptus of the word M-A-N, or man. Master, able, and noble. When you have all 12 of these open, 12 glands in your body open, stimulated, spiritualized, when I say stimulated, these abilities will function through them, through the mind of man. Not the brain, but the mind. Okay? 12 abilities, referred to as powers in the 12 powers of man, but they really are power, but they function on a daily level. You already use them. The thing is, if you don't know it, you can't repeat it as often as you should be able to, and as dramatically or dynamically as you should be able to, because the lack of knowledge decreases the confidence that you're supposed to have in yourself. The word faith does not mean belief. It's the Latin word photius, which means confidence. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is the substance. Stop. Faith is a substance, a spiritual substance that gives you the confidence so strong that you find yourself saying inwardly, if not outwardly, I am the Christ, I cannot deny myself. It is as natural to the soul to hear that song inside as it is to hear any good term coming from above, from heaven, on top of your head, where your Father is. God within is what this book talks about. In the knowledge towards the faith, to the knowledge of the Son of God, to the measure of the fullness of the stature of Christ. The measure of the fullness of the stature of Christ. Christ is not a man, it is a nature, a divine nature, born with it. But you have to educo, draw out that which is within. That's the meaning of the word educate. The Latin derivative of the term educate, educare, to draw out that which is within. Once you lay the foundation of the basis of who you are based on your nature and the knowledge of self, you then turn to the external to find your place in the world. We are not down here trying to overthrow this white boy. You're down here trying to raise up God in yourself. Now, we made a mistake for almost 50 years trying to do Eurocentric left-wing politics from one white boy's head to another, Karl Marx versus the president, Karl Marx, socialism versus capitalism, and we got the raw end of that deal. Our heroes and brains went to jail and got shot to death, and we still walked around scared as ever and twice as dumb because we didn't know what we were looking for. In this book, there's a code based upon the lure of the Hebrew children. And that's important because those 12 sons are the 12 signs of the zodiac. Okay? If you wonder why this consistency of 12, first of all, there are 66 books in this Bible. Now, this is the Protestants' Bible. There are 72 books in the Catholic Bible, the Catholic Bible, the first Bible. This is the second one. That is based upon Moorish science, the Kabbalistic system of writing. It was invented by your ancient ancestors and handed down through the ancient Osirian mystery system to those who now call themselves Masons, which is a Moor, which says he's you if it's a he, and she's you if it's a her. When she or he puts this kez on, the ancient Kemetic word for fez, which means crown, they're saying they're you. They are you by initiation. You are you by birth. The way out of all of this dialogue about your name being misplaced, owned by somebody else, is join the Masonic order. If you want out of just that. But half of them in there, all they're getting is the money and not the divine honey. I don't want to knock the order. In some parts of it, it's excellent. In other parts of it, it's just as terrible as anything else. What I'm trying to point out here is the search is about the best of what you really are, the highest possibilities that the universe has granted you. See? That's who you must shake and wake in the boat if you're drowning. And drowning is when your bills need to be paid, when you're sick, when you're worried, when you're scared, when you're confused. That's your drowning. That's when you wake up your Christ in your boat, your vessel, to give you your answers, to calm your storms. Okay? A lot of questions that we're asking outside, we need to ask inside, because that's where they are. You know, and they're tailor-made for you and you and you. Nobody else gets your answer. You see? Why is it doesn't always come through then? Something I discovered myself. I didn't always want the right answer. Sometimes I wanted my answer. You know? Should I stop off and get this leg, or should I go on home? You know, you know, you know. And something a yogi master said, his spirit told him when he came home very tired one night, worn out, and he laid down to go to sleep. He was too tired to pray, too tired to meditate, and the Spirit told him to turn over and meditate. And he started hemming and hawing and so forth, and the Spirit told him again, meditate. And being a practiced individual, discipline, and knowing that there's something special about those moments, he turned over and meditated. Spirit shot him out there in the infinity, and hooked him up, you know. We're not listening to whom we're supposed to be listening to. We're listening to the things that worry and trouble us, the things that confuse us, occupy much of our mind. There's an answer for every question. There's a solution to every problem. Where is it? Inside. There's no more God out here than there is in there. Now, I'm going to tell you something important, because, see, somehow we don't think we're supposed to get rich unless we work and save our money. And that's a practical, good way to do so. And I'm not going to knock that. You know, as much as I dislike 8 hours a day, it's practical and it's significant, and it gives a sense of purpose and direction. Wealth is given. It is not earned. It is given to the one who asks for it. Oprah is rich because Oprah asked for it. Here's an excellent example of just the opposite. 6 or 7 white guys in Cleveland, Ohio, pool their resources together to buy lottery tickets for that weekend's $20 million. They went in, bought the tickets, came out of the store with the tickets. One of them suggested to the group, hey, we spent too much money on these tickets. Let's cash some of them back in. They did, and they took the winning ticket back to the store. It wasn't their money. Look at the game shows. First, look at the games that pay dividends, money. Look at them. While we sit here, somebody's getting rich. And I want you to think about that instead about somebody tricking you out of your check. Money is an idea. How many ideas can you contain? What is it that brings you your good? It is desire. What are you passionate about? What is it that you really love with all your feelings? Can you transfer that to money? Yes, you can, if you want to. You can give money and won't be able to keep it. You can get rich and lose it all. Perfect example of Dennis Rodman is still trying his best to destroy the blessings that something gave him. This man got on national television and told the world that he thought he did not belong in the NBA. And he's not in there anymore. One of the best rebounders in the NBA. You know, systematically, this man kept trying to destroy everything that something was giving him. He was doing it to himself, not the white boy. He was doing it to himself. Very good. The power of the word, the spoken word. And we need to control that faculty. Huh? Because we take words and throw them like daggers, and they get results. What I want to do, and I think I will because I want to exemplify the importance. I should have had Bobby put at the bottom of it, bring your Bible, because he didn't know. Well, maybe he did know I was going to get into this. Let me give you a look at this first, if I can get it to stay up here. The 12 essences of Moorish science. These are the precepts that construct any scripture, no matter what that scripture is. You have the story form. In the Hindu, you have it about the East Indian. In the Bible, you have it about the Jew and the Egyptian. Okay, the scripture is divided right down the middle between the Jew and the Egyptian. Everything wrong is being done by the Egyptian. Everything almost right is being done by the Jew. You know, so we see the racism being played out there. Until you dig deeper and find out what Egypt means, then it changes, you see, until you get the Codex Inscriptus. Symbology, the body of knowledge that the universe speaks and teaches. The body of knowledge that the universe speaks and teaches. The body of knowledge that nature speaks and teaches. The crescent and the star is the most common of those two. There's no such thing as a crescent moon. That's a shadowing of the earth passing between, of the moon passing between the earth and the sun. You get 4 different aspects of shadowing in those positions. Notice I said 4. Keep that number in mind. There's no such thing as a 5-pointed star in the heavens. There's 4, 6, 8, 16, 24. If you cut open a Macintosh apple and look inside, you'll see a 5-pointed star. The 5-pointed starfish. On an abundance of leaves in nature, you will find a perfect, beautiful, symmetrical of a 5-pointed star. In your deeper meditation at some spiritual point, between your eyebrows, you will see a 5-pointed star in some varied shade of color. White light, red light, blue light, depending on where you are in your own growth and development. The moon is the symbol of the sign Cancer, which is the sign of the mother. The star is the symbol of the man or sun, 5 points. Let me write it up here so you can see it. I'm going to go a little faster than this because I know I only got 2 hours. That's Cancer. That's man. What does that spell? All right, okay. Mother and son. Okay. It's very important that we get this correct in our psyches about the order of things. If we're going to get back to respect for the black woman, the black mother, the black wife, the black child, daughter, see? Because that ain't the white boy beating up that black woman at home. You can't love without respect. The white boy may have a calcified pineal gland, or pineal gland, I like to call it. The heart chakra of the black man is closed. He's not loving from here. He's loving from here. The other pineal gland. Don't tell me you love me and your heart is full of anger and hatred for something or someone. You can't put that aside and then come give me real love. Don't tell me you love black children and hate white children. What are you talking about? That's schizophrenia. If you love, you love. And love purifies this organ and keeps it alive. There's a secret in here. You can talk with this. There's a secret in here. But you can't get to it if it's full of fear. And that's where hatred comes from. It's out of fear, not out of strength. Love is your power. Wisdom is your guide. Male and female, mother and son, love and wisdom. The law of attraction, drawing you down here and back towards the higher planes, is the law of love in action. I didn't see the Kybalion over there, but I'm assuming all y'all have a copy of the Kybalion, right? Right? Okay. That's good. That's good to know. There are certain books that I make reference to because I want to make sure that as many black folks as I meet along the way, that they have some level of this knowledge if I only get a chance to talk with them for a few minutes. So they'll have something to grow on. It's very important. There were 4 women, 4 mothers who produced the 12 sons of Jacob. Leah, Zilpah, Rachel, and who's the other? Bilhah, right. How many phases of the moon are there? There are 12 signs in the zodiac. How many sons did Jacob have? Very good. I want you to take a look at something interesting here. These are the 12 sons of Jacob. Simon, Judah, Zebulun, Issachar, Dan, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Joseph, Benjamin, and who else? Right, yeah. That was my little trick for the class. I put both, because these are twins, the two there, yeah. Now, you see those and you heard that. Now look at this. What happened to Jacob's name? Very good. Isn't that interesting how all you all know those stories? And the good Reverend didn't correlate this to anything beyond that of 12 little Jew boys that were black, by the way. Thank you. Okay. 12 tribes of Israel. Look at these names. Manasseh. Okay. Ephraim. These are not the 12 sons of Jacob. These are the 12 constellations of the universe in this book. Now, they may not be that anywhere else, but in this book, in Revelations chapter 7, verse 6, you will find these 12 names. In Genesis chapter 49, you will find the other 12 names. Okay? And also in the book of Numbers, you will find these 12 names in the procession of the march of the 12 tribes of Israel. What I thought about doing was getting into an explanation of each name. I don't know if I want to do that or not. What I do want to do is jump right back here. I'm going to, yeah, okay. Back to the 12 essences of Morse science. Numerology and universal law. In the Bible, there's a book called the Book of Numbers. Has anybody ever heard a sermon preached out of the Book of Numbers? I think not. The Bible and the Book of Numbers is based on numbers. The gathering of the 12 tribes is a depiction of the square zodiac and the movement of those 12 constellations in their procession throughout the universe. It is the grand plan or grand scheme of the Creator in the evolution of nature, not just human nature, but also lesser nature and also divine nature. The 12 sons' names are the names given to the 12 signs. Okay. The 12 symbols can be found in ancient so-called Egyptian Kemetic art. They are not Hebrew, the point I'm making here. That this knowledge about the zodiac, about astrology and astronomy, does not come from Hebrew. It comes from the black man called in this book Egyptian. Since I keep harping on that word, let's take a look at it. Keep in mind we're dealing with the Codex Inscriptus. In numerology, each alphabetical letter has a numerical value. E is 5, G is 7, Y is 7, P is 7, T is 2. How much is 2 and 5? Okay. How many 7s are there? Very good. Keep that in mind. 4 7s. Let me do this so I won't fall down and won't fall over and won't drop my fez. Here's a swastika. 1 7, 2 7s, 3 7s, 4 7s.
Go ahead. That's right.
He who came from nothing is swastika, which is not a German word, an ancient Sanskrit term, or Kushite, if you will. You know that the so-called East Indians or Kushites, South Africans. Okay. Astrology, astrotheology, is the story being told in astrotheological form. The story of Jesus and his 12 disciples, okay, along with the 12 sons of Jacob and the 12 tribes of Israel. The 12 years the woman had an issue of blood. Okay, the 12 stars, the 12 gates, the 12 pearls. Yeah, it goes on and on with 12. 12 is the circle of 360 degrees. 3 and 6 is what? How many numbers are there? All right, so we see the correlation of this system that your ancestors pulled out of nature, recorded for the rest of human nature. Hear what I said, for the rest of human nature. Okay? In other words, universal nature cannot be copyrighted. Okay? Our ancestors found it, used it, and passed it forward. They are the reason there is such a thing as a European Masonic order. When the Moors went into Europe, first by commission as stonemasons, those are the ones who built the cathedrals, the mansions, and the castles for the European kings and queens, earls and dukes. They went in as a law unto themselves. They couldn't be judged by any provincial law of any country. They were a law unto themselves. Otherwise, they wouldn't go in. The Golden Age of the Moors is a book perhaps the brothers couldn't find that should never be out of any presentation of Afrocentric culture. It's the best thing we have on Moorish history, except Nature Knows No Color Line. There's about 5 chapters by J.A. Rogers on Moorish history. An excellent book. Questions in a little while. I don't want to get distracted here, because I'll go off on a tangent like that other Sagittarius that was up here. Bobby's Sagittarius, I'm Sagittarius, and the other brother's Sagittarius. Metaphysics, it's important that this is your thinking. When you get it right mentally, you are then a metaphysician. Whatever the mind conceives and believes, the mind will achieve. The psychological assumption automatically provides the means to fulfill the dream desire, the law of mind and action. See, when you get it done right, that's the law that you use as to whether you knew it or not. If you see it, it will happen for you. You've already done it. I don't even need to ask you if you did or not. I know you did. That's how you get everything you have. That's also how you bring in the problems that you have and entertain. And you do it essentially because you want to solve a problem. That's the nature of the mind. That's how it works. It loves to solve problems. So in order to solve a problem, it will do one of 2 things. It will either signify or create a difficulty until you train it to just solve problems and maintain itself. And it takes some work to do that. You want something to do, you got something to do. Keep a positive thought all day, for starters. But you can. Believe and buy into the truth. You are God. Don't think you're God by yourself now. Okay. You have God's nature. Born with it. Okay. You don't need to go to Big B's to get it. Drug boy ain't dealing with that. And that's what all the drugs is about. It's trying to get to some of these levels of ecstasy, great joy. You know, sister, out on Simpson one night, 3 o'clock in the morning, then hit that pipe, la, 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 la. You know, like a little 10-year-old child who was happy, you know. And it made sense. The stuff made her happy. And it made her very happy that time. And she kept trying to get it again and again. And she kept hitting this nerve back here. And the more she'd hit it, the number it would get. And the less pleasure it would give back. There's no synthetic doorway here. You got to go in here through here. The best blessing the Creator gave you, that you can shut your eyes and go into a world so wonderful, you don't want to come back. Or you can bring some of it back with you. But you have to sit down, be quiet, be still, let go, and let God. And the more you do it, the more reward you get back from the position, from the quiet, in the land where the turtle's voice is heard. I love that line in the Book of Solomon. So that you'll have some answers for children and peers that you meet along the way. See? You're the one coming in a white robe. It's you, or a black robe. You know, don't want to be biased here. See? Bringing someone else an answer, solving someone else's problem. See? It's you. If it wasn't, you wouldn't be here looking for higher knowledge. You'd be where the brother said the rest of them are. You know, being interdetained. Because everyone must come this way. This is the pool of evolution. Look at these words. Evolution, revolution, devolution. This is the first one here. L-O-V-E. The great pool is evolution. Devolution, to devolve, so that you can revolve, so that you can continue to evolve. We go up. Let's go east. We go up. Then we come back down. So we can get and gather momentum to go up higher. To come back down so we can go back up higher. If you gather what you're supposed to gather in the declination, much of the time we don't gather what we're supposed to gather going down because we're too busy. Oh, Lord, it's my world falling apart. I done lost everything. We push panic button. You know? Because we learn fear. We learned to be afraid. We learn this. What is the beginning of wisdom? Fear of what? No. What? Very good. The fear of the Lord, not God. Yes, the fear of the law is Lord. That's the fear of the Lord. Fire, earth, air, and river. What is river? All right. Without those four, there is no wisdom. Everything in here is composed of these four. Everything moving in the universe is composed of these four. I'm supposed to be giving you all some verses here. I want to make sure that I do that, because I'm trying to get you pointed towards the scriptures, because the issue comes up. When you study, you're going to draw people with questions. You draw them. It doesn't matter if you finish with the book or not. You may be on chapter 1, page 4, and the brother sitting behind you has got a question for you about page 1. Chapter 1 or page 4. It just happens. That's the law of attraction. It just happens. So be ready. You know, don't do what the brother said. I ain't got time to fuck you up now, brother. You know, no, that ain't no way. That sounds clever and hip, but that ain't. And he know that ain't right. You know, you don't want to do that. You don't want to turn your brother off of knowledge. Was on the bus one evening talking to another brother, two other brothers sitting in front of me. I was sitting this way. And there's a young 14, 15-year-old brother sitting over in the corner. And the brother said, well brother, where'd you find out about these Moors? First he asked me about my fez. I used to wear a fez blocked. So I told him we're the Moors and so forth. And so where'd you find out we're Moors? And as soon as he said that, and I saw him out of the corner of my eye, this young kid sitting over the corner by himself, his head turned, and his spirit locked his head in this position until we got down to where I got off the bus. This little boy didn't move. Everything that was said about the Kybalion, the golden age of the Moors, and a little history went right in his brother's listening tunnel because he needed it, you know. We're talking about knowledge that changes consciousness when you talk about your truth. You see? It changes your thinking. And if you try to leave it alone, it won't leave you alone at night when you go to bed. You think you're going to sleep. And your soul says it's time for you to wake up. You don't get no sleep that night. Like the brother I was staying with, and then told him about it. No, he had J.A. Rogers' book, 5 years. Never read it, 5 years. This is a college graduate. Talking about the brother with the degree. This is one of them. You know, I had the degree 5 years. Had the J.A. Rogers' book, Nature Knows No Color Line, for 5 years. 5 o'clock in the morning, he told me, his spirit woke him up and walked him in his library right to the book and put his hand on it. 5 o'clock in the morning, you know. He needed to know something. Three keys: identity, self-knowledge, self-revelation. You want God to reveal himself in you, through you, as you. The feminine term for more is mores. Put that up there. Let me see if I can come up on these real quick here. I got another set of notes here. I know a part of the verse. I was trying to find the book of Matthew. O lawyers, you have hidden the key of knowledge and have not entered therein yourselves. I got it here somewhere. Neither would you let those that go in. Very good. Thank you, my brother. Matthew 23. Very good. Okay. Write that down. Okay. That they had hidden the key of knowledge. In other words, the reference is here in the book, that there's knowledge in the book. But it has to be discerned. Most Christian Bible students discern by their intuition what their spirit wants them to know. Essentially because they're not self-oriented. They're not looking for themselves in this book. Is why they don't get self-knowledge. They're looking for Jesus on every page, in every chapter, in every book. They put him all in the Old Testament. You know? Yeah, but I mean, that's the believer. Because they're looking for one thing. And Christians will tell you that. They're looking for salvation. They're not looking for godhood. They don't want to become miracle workers. They'd rather have somebody else heal them than heal themselves. I'm trying to give you another point of view to think from. Don't underestimate yourselves. And you can't overestimate yourselves because you're not fully blown God. But the idea needs to be in your consciousness. What will make the difference? Your desire to become God will make the difference. Your desire to become God will make the difference. Your desire to get a job got you a job. Your desire to get them Nikes got you them Nikes. The same juice, the same substance that gets you on the ground will get you in the heavens. Okay? Most Bible readers read the verse, man, know yourself and to your own self be true. Know you the truth, and the truth will set you free. Know you the truth, and the truth will set you free. That's you. Y-O-U, your own universe. Y-O-U, your own universe. The head, Aries, bent over backwards, touching the feet, Pisces, is 360 degrees. The zodiac is read from Aries 1 degree east, not 0 degree. I've got in 5 arguments about that 0 and that 1. There's no such thing as 0 degree. 0 doesn't measure anything. 1 does. It goes from 1 to 360 degrees, not 1 to 0 degrees. Okay? So, small bit of information until you start calculating, and you wonder why the European's chart is 15 degrees off. He's missing 15 degrees of measurement. Let me jump back here. Psalm 19, verses 1 to 6. Psalm 19, verses 1 to 6. This is further evidence of the astrological code in the scriptures. Psalm 19, verses 1 to 6. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. When can you see the stars? Okay. You see this big ankh here? That wasn't designed so it would just go around your neck. Okay. This is what your ancestors as initiates did with it when they walked up the steps. And they gave them, pull this down. They gave them a big one. we usually buy the little bitty ones because we want to look cute. You get one of these in your hand and you sit, squat, or stood on the plateau of Giza. You held it up sideways. You would look at the collaboration of stars through this segment. Then you look at the collaboration of stars through this segment, then this segment, then this segment. Okay? This is the axis. This is the horizon. Okay? Art for art's sake, your folks didn't do that. They did art for knowledge's sake. See? It was important to know in that ancient land of the Moors. It's still on the map. Marrakesh and Mauritania both mean land or town of the Moors. That's the name your ancestors called the land. Okay. Africa, Afura, 3 drops of semen, and a primordial insect. The sun, Afura, flush God. Flush of God is what Africa means. You'll find that throughout Budge's history books on Egypt. Afura. Proverbs chapter 9, verse 1. Proverbs chapter 9, verse 1. Listen to this very carefully. There's something very interesting here that you don't hear in church. Wisdom hath built her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars. She hath killed her beast. She hath mingled her wine. She hath also furnished her table. Wisdom as she, as feminine. Very interesting, isn't it? How many times do you hear that going across the pulpit? Yeah. She has built her house. I'll draw it small because I want to do something else here in a minute on the same page. She has hewn out her 7 pillars. What holds up a building? The pillars. All right. This is an imaginary circle. So what is it that maintains an imaginary circle in space? Huh? What else would be out there with invisible, imaginary? I heard it. Speak it again. Louder. All right, laws. The 7 pillars are the 7 cosmic laws of the universe found in that little book called the Kybalion. That's one of the reasons why I keep mentioning it. You're not going to be able to think without understanding those 7 universal laws. If you're thinking and you get it right, you use one or some of them. They are throughout this book. They're throughout the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, the Rig Vedas. It's what the universe is built on. There's no way to get around it except by understanding. Okay, very important. She hath killed her beasts. I do this picturing so that it gets into the right side of your brain where your image faculty is. These are her beasts. Okay. The 12 constellations or signs in the heaven are sketched out images of animal and human forms. They're all dead. Okay. All right. In understanding this symbolic language where the knowledge is hidden. Okay. Now let's look at that to make valid. When Noah built the ark, all right, same ark. He brought in the animals. How did he bring them in? 2. By 2. Male and female. That's Aries. A ram. What's opposite Aries? Thank you. Does anybody know what animal Libra is? Or that he is an animal? Yeah. It's a donkey. Issachar. That's one of the sweet blessings of burning that midnight oil. One night the Spirit just dropped something on you that you didn't know was there in your face, you know, just as it did that for me. In Genesis chapter 49, we find this rundown on the 12 sons of Jacob. Verse 10, thank you. That brother's sharp over there. That's one of the Masons over there. I hear him now. One of the brothers over there. The scepter shall not depart. No, not verse 10. Issachar. Let me see. Verse 14. 49:14, Issachar. Issachar is a strong ass crouching down between 2 burdens, and he saw that rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant under tribute. This is how you find that. Does anybody know what the symbol of Libra is? What's the symbol of Libra? Right. Now look at this. I'm going to do this fast, so it's not going to be a good piece of art. Here's your scale. Issachar. Bearing two burdens. Crouching down between two burdens. Issachar is Libra. Now in the constellations, it's not Issachar. It's Dan. I don't want to get that tedious. I'm not going to try to give it all to you. What I'm about doing is a 12-week course in Moorish science. If a group of you get interested enough in contact Bobby, I'm sure he'll arrange something so we can deal with some reculturation here in Atlanta. We've kind of slid along the way here. Just throwing that out there, because you know the Negroes got to eat. Yeah, okay. Well, mentioning that, I do also numerological charts. If you want to know something about yourself, you've been carrying around the key to it in your wallet, pocketbook, your name, and your birth data. Okay? There's no such thing as a slave language. The universe doesn't deal in slavery. Okay? You have the names that fit this culture. The universe sees to it that you get the right name because you give it to your mother and she sounds it out. That's why Mama's sitting there, well, what about Benny? Oh, Benny don't sound right. What about George? No, George, and what's called is stuck on stupid. George Foreman, name all them kids. This is, now if you want to accuse a black man of cloning, George Foreman is as guilty of cloning as anybody in America. You all see this picture, this little baby he just made? This baby look just like him right now. You know, he's spitting them out there, boy. George ain't jiving. He wants some more Georges down here. Wow, that dude is something, man. Yeah, he got a Georgette. And his wife, his name is Georgette, isn't it? He's something, man. He's something else. Yeah. Let's see here. I want to give out at least 15 or 20 of these. Psalm 147, verse 4. Psalm 147, verse 4. Psalm 147, verse 4. He telleth the number of the stars. He calleth them all by their names. Okay. Now this is this system. Okay. They have Hebrew Jewish names because those who translated the code and the Kabbalistic system used Hebrew Jewish culture. As I've shown you what the word Hebrew means, this is what the word Jew means. Malachi chapter 2, verse 4. Malachi chapter 2, verse 4. Malachi is the last chapter of the Old Testament just before the New Testament begins. I want to read this so that you know I'm reading it right from the scriptures. Chapter 4, verse 2, not 2:4. Chapter 4, verse 2. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness, that's the wrong one. 17, chapter 3, verse 17, I'm sorry. Chapter 3, verse 17. But keep that 1:4 too, that's an important one. I'll show you what that is in a minute. And they shall be mine, saith the Lord of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serves him. For though there are those who say that they are Jews and are not. They belong to the synagogue of Satan. Now hold your thing there, because y'all done jumped all over that white boy. That doesn't make him the devil. That's your glands. Those are the ones that say that they are Jews and are not, until they are quickened and lit up like jewels. Okay? That's you. So it's back on you. Get off, leave the white boy alone, let him go on do it, except get you a bigger wallet and a bigger purse and fill it up. Don't talk about what we're going to do, what we ought to do, what we can't do, and we ain't got no money. I heard somebody in here talking about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is a billionaire. What mistake did he make? Put this on right. You know, the government, because this is either the government or the servant. Which one do you want it to be? And the government shall be upon his shoulders. The Christ head, the Godhead, is the government. The other one is G-O-D, government of democracy. 3 and 9, that's the Amen. 3 and 9, I think, was. What I just read? Oh, yeah, that was. No, that was 3:17. Yeah, Malachi 3:17, and the other one is, for behold, the day cometh and shall burn as an oven, and all the proud ye and all that do wicked. No, I'm in the wrong place here. I try to avoid the harsh ones. Chapter 2, verse 2, chapter 4, Malachi. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. The Son of, I don't have it up there. I'll be darned. I'm getting ready to point right. Right, that's the other point. Yeah, let me get this out of here first. I want you all to see this. The Son of Righteousness shall arise with healing in his wings. Okay.